Hey y'all, welcome back to my live broadcast. I'm Shanta Prince, and I help coaches build their personal brands, create high ticket offers, and get paying clients. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about getting clients because even though I've talked about this before, so many people ask about this, and I feel like it's a really important topic. Let me silence my phone really quick. So, the reason why people ask about this is because this is an issue that so many people face, coaches, consultants, mentors, most people in the service provider space want to know, how can I get clients or how can I get more clients? So even when you start, getting those first few clients, is the next step is, okay, how can I do more of this? How can I repeat this? And so this topic, I feel, is like one of the things that they're most asked about, but not talked about as much in great detail. Now, I do have a course on that I did. It was a live course that I did on how to start your coaching business. I have another course that I did live on lead generation, generating leads. So the first thing to getting clients is you need leads, and leads are people who are potential clients. So in the lead generation course, I talk about how to generate leads. So if that's something that you're interested in, just send me a quick message and we can talk. We can talk more about it offline. But I said all that to say that the process, it can take a little bit of time to explain, but I'm going to make things as simple as I possibly can in the scope of this broadcast. So the first thing when it comes to getting clients is, that's the thing, you have to get them. And I think that the general idea is that they come to you, and they do sometimes when you're doing the things that draw people to you. But in essence, that's exactly when people say, well, how can I get more clients? That's the idea. You have to get them. A lot of times when someone comes to you, when a potential client comes to you, it's because you're doing something that inspires them or draws them to you. Okay. You're doing some type of magnetic activity that's pulling them to you. What I'm finding is that people who they want clients, but they're not doing the magnetic activity. They're not doing anything to really attract the clients to them. So, for example, if you are doing something like a real life example, someone sent me a message a few days ago and she said, I was doing a search for this information and you came up. And so she found me by my content. She did a search and something that I talked about came up in her search, and that's how she found me. So that's an example of doing something that's actually drawing your ideal clients to you. Now, another thing that I see is a lot of people want to you want the visibility and things like that, right? I see people, like, for example, if I made a post right now and I said, who wants to be featured on TV with, blah blah blah, right? Some people are quick to jump for those things, but they don't have the systems in place to be able to serve an audience. So this is something that I'm always talking about to my clients, serving your audience. What I mean by that is, when you're doing the magnetic things that are drawing them in, you're serving your audience. Things like sharing content, sharing valuable information with them. Those kind of things make you an expert in their eyes. If every time I see you, you're talking about tips for this, tips for that, eventually I'm going to be like, okay, like, she knows her stuff or he knows his stuff. So what happens is, when you're sharing content, when you're doing the things that you need to do to serve your audience, they begin to see you as an expert. And guess what? Some of them are going to want to work with you on a deeper level. Some of them are going to say, I need more of this. I want more of this. And as a matter of fact, I just spoke with someone yesterday, and she said, I need more of this. How much are your services? Right? She wanted to know how she can work with me on a deeper level. Now, let me tell you some things that attract clients to you. Number one is creating content. That's why when I told you guys a couple of weeks ago about my content to authority system, I created a system to show you how to create 12 weeks or approximately 90 days of content to position yourself as an authority. It's authority building content, stuff that you can share every week that that builds up your brand and positions you as an authority, and it will cause your audience to see you as an expert, right? So number one, creating content, because people want to see what you can do, right? So your content is a way to show people, hey, listen, I can actually do what I say I can do. Many times before we buy something, that's what we want to know. Can this person do what they say they can do? If I'm telling you I can help you to get clients, then the next thing you want to figure out is, okay, where's the evidence that she can actually do that? So you're going to look for clues. You're going to look for previous content. You're probably going to look at some of the people that I've been able to help, which leads me to another thing that attracts clients to you: testimonials, right? So we talked about content. Number one, sharing valuable and relevant information. And then moving on, testimonials, because when people see that you've helped other people, then that's attractive as well, because to them it's like, oh, well, if she helped this person, I know she can help me too. And the thing is, even if you don't have testimonials, there's some other things that you can do to really serve your audience in a mighty way. I did a whole launch one time, and I did not even though I had testimonials, I did not use testimonials. I didn't use um any of my past testimonials, and I still picked up quite a few clients out of this launch. But what I did instead of testimonials is I really just used my gifts. I allowed my gifts to shine. But that's the magnetic activity that I'm talking about, right? I allowed them to see who I am and how I do business. I allowed them to see my gifts in action. And then people were able to decide if they wanted to work with me on a deeper level or not, right? So when you're doing these things to draw people to you, it makes a difference. So this is what I mean by, like, people will come to you, but when you're doing the magnetic activities that pull them in. But even when people are finding you, when people are connecting with you, there has to be a next step to move them from a person who is a prospect to a person who is a paying client. And a lot of times that means you have to initiate the conversation, or you have to initiate the action to move them to the next step and becoming a client. Now, I do want to talk about how, when we talk about you're doing those magnetic activities, sometimes people will reach out to you and say, I need to find out how much your services are, right? Now, that does happen. However, you've got to have both. You have to be doing things to draw people to you, to bring them to your audience, bring them into your realm, and bring them into your spot in the kingdom. You have to have something that you're doing to bring people in to your realm, right? Or as some people would say, your ecosystem. So that's one thing. But once you're getting people into your audience, I'm going to give you an example of what this looks like in real life, okay? Once you get people into your audience, then you have to have something that you're doing to provide value to them, also known as nurturing, giving value, helping to solve problems, sharing your content, engaging with your ideal clients by talking to them, not just talking at them, but talking to them. Listen, talking to your people, that's another that's pretty much leads me to my next point. But talking to your audience makes a huge difference, you guys. Like, I can't even emphasize how important it is to not just talk at your audience, but talk to the people in your audience. So just this morning, I made $1,000 just by talking to someone, right? Having a conversation that I would not have made if I didn't have a conversation. And it wasn't a long conversation. A couple of questions back and forth, and boom, a $1,000 sale. Now, imagine being able to do that every single day or every single week, right? Just weekly, right? Every 2 weeks to every week to every day. Like, it's really possible. Like, I would not sit here and lie to you guys. It's very possible for you to make money every single day. And it all starts with the stuff that I'm talking about. So, creating content, sharing your testimonials when one of your clients has a win, or even if it's past clients or past testimonials, sharing those too. Even if you only have yourself as an example, share that too. It makes a huge difference. These are the magnetic things that I'm talking about that draw people in. Then having conversations with people changes the game, because first of all, you want to find out, can you actually help the person? And sometimes you only can find that out by having a conversation with them. So conversations, I always say this to my clients, conversations lead to clients. And when you are having a conversation, then you're able to find out if you can help this person, and then you're able to make them an offer. Having conversations gets you out of just talking at your audience to talking to them. And I talked about this on a live last Friday. And actually, we're continuing the live from last Friday on tomorrow at 5 o'clock, right on my Facebook page. So if you're watching me from my Facebook page or the Facebook group, you'll be seeing the live. And also on YouTube. If you watch it from YouTube, you'll be seeing the live broadcast tomorrow, part 2. But I talked about this on a broadcast the other day. There's a difference between building an audience and building a community. When you build an audience, is a one way conversation. The person is broadcasting, and that's it. When you build a community, you actually talk to your people. You have conversations with them. You engage with them. You understand what they're dealing with. You understand their struggles. You know the things that are going on in their lives because you're having conversations with them. And that right there is one of the, I would say, fundamental aspects of building a successful business, not avoiding talking to your audience. I laugh every time I say that, y'all, because I meet coaches who don't want to talk to their audience, and it blows my mind every single time. Like, it does not compute for me when a person says, "Well, I want to get clients, but I don't really want to talk to people." And I'm like, that doesn't make sense, right? You may be in the wrong business. If you want to coach people, but you don't want to talk to the people who you're called to coach, then might be in the wrong business, right? So having conversations with people changes the game. So that's the part that I mean by like going to get your clients. Many times you have to be the initiator of the conversation. So outside of the ones who are coming to you into your messages, that's a blessing. When a client comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to know more about your services," that's always a blessing. But majority of the time, you have to be the initiator of the conversation. You have to be the one asking them questions, engaging with them. And I was just talking about this a little while ago. I'm like, almost all of my sales are closed by having conversations. And I teach my clients how to do the same thing, how to go and have conversations with people and turn them into clients, right? So we're talking about getting clients. We're just having a chat about getting clients. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments and I can answer your questions while I'm live. So don't be shy, you guys. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment box. So we talked about creating content, right? That's how people see your expertise. That is how people see your expertise. When you are an authority, authority is defined as the power to influence, especially because of one's recognized expertise about something. Especially because of one's recognized expertise about something. How can people recognize your expertise if you're not sharing with them, if you're not showing up and serving them and sharing content with them on a regular basis? This is another thing that my clients and I often talk about is creating content so you can serve your audience on a regular basis. The way that people come to see you as a recognized expert is because of your content, you guys. This is why I created the content to authority system that I shared with you a couple of weeks ago. If you want to get the content to authority system, just let me know, you guys. It is less than a coffee date. And I say coffee date because I do coffee dates all the time. People invite me out. People that know I love coffee, they invite me out for coffee. And I do coffee dates all the time. So the content to authority system gives you the step-by-step process on how to create content every single week. I'll walk you through how to come up with topics. I'll walk you through how to create titles and headlines for your topics. I'll give you some inspirational, motivational, and faith-based quotes. I'll give you a 90-day content planner, and it's so much more, you guys. Go to contenttoauthority.com and check it out and see if it's something that you want to get. You could actually start planning your content right now so that you can start sharing content on a regular basis. I'm telling you guys, it's a game changer. Candace says, I need to get that, but I'm not there yet, or am I? It's for everybody, Candace. It's for anybody who wants to start showing up as an expert. Just like what I'm doing now, Candace, like how I go live on Thursdays. That's an example of creating weekly content. And when people tune in to listen to you, then they're seeing you as an expert. They're watching you, they're seeing your face on the screen. And what happens is you can leverage that to drive sales to get more clients. So even if you're not in a place right now where you're ready to start selling, you can still create content so that you can start building up your audience, building up your authority so that when you are ready to sell, you're not trying to sell to no one. And I've been there and done that. So many times I've launched things or tried to sell things and I had not built my audience yet. So the way that I came to understand this, y'all, is like I always talk about how many mistakes I made when it comes to sales and how I would launch things and the launch I wouldn't sell a thing, right? So I got to the point where I was like, "Ugh, I'm just not gonna sell anything anymore. Like I'm so tired of launching things that don't sell. I'm just not gonna sell anything anymore." And I had a business mentor who issued a challenge. And she's like, okay, you guys, let's go live every day for 30 days straight. And I'm like, okay, I'm down for the challenge, but I'm not selling anything though. Because I kind of crawled into a cave, right? That's that that's that entrepreneurial trauma that you get sometimes. So I crawled into a cave and I was like, well, I'm just not gonna sell anything. But when she came out with the challenge, I was like, okay, I'll do the challenge, but I'm not gonna sell anything. You guys, as I start creating content every day, people started asking me how can they work with me. I went from launching things and not being able to sell things to just creating content and had made up my mind that I wasn't selling to people saying, how can I work with you? And I didn't even have anything to sell at the time because I'm like, I'm just going live, I'm not selling. That is how I realized that content changes the game. And when people see your content, you guys, like you can leverage that to drive sales. So many times when people are like, okay, I need more clients, I always go back to, okay, what kind of content are you putting out there to show people that you're an expert, right? And content could be anything. It could be, even if you're brand new, you guys, this is why launches work so well. When I talk about a launch, I talk about doing some type of event where people, your ideal clients can gather and see you and get to know your story and see what you can do. And then you make them an offer to join your program. This is why launches work so well because people get to see your expertise. They get to see you in action. They get to connect with you, right? None of us want to pay someone to coach us if we don't know them or if we don't know anything about them. We don't even know if they're we don't know if they're going to take our money and run. We don't know if they're a scam or not. Showing up every single day builds trust, right? So my husband and I go to this specific grocery store often. So we walk like 3 days out of the week. And after we walk, we always go to this grocery store to get this drink that we like. So every single day, right? These same people are seeing us at around about the same time every morning. Well, not every morning, like 3 times a week. And so now we have become familiar faces. So they recognize us and we recognize them. And guess what? There's some trust there, right? So when I talk to one of the guys, I'm like, hey, what kind of meat you got back there? Like they recognize us every day. It's like a continuing relationship with these people. So what happens is when you're showing up every day, like how we show up at the grocery store consistently, it's not every day, but it's still consistent. Then people start to recognize you, they start to know you, and they start to trust you. And those are the foundational principles for closing sales. They know you, they like you, and they trust you. Right? I say this every week. Nobody is giving their money to someone that they don't trust. So when you're creating content and you're showing up every week and you're serving your audience, that's building trust. It's establishing you as an expert, and people are starting to see you as an authority. So you guys, you guys know I went from being in the Navy to having a business. People know me from a few different ways. Number one, being in the Navy. I built some of the best relationships from being in the Navy. Another way that people know me is from ministry. People know me from seeing me in church, seeing me leading in different aspects in ministry. So I had to go from those things to saying, okay, those are just parts of me, right? So I just shift from, okay, how do I get people to see me not just as a person who was in the Navy, not just as a person who can teach, who can do awesome Bible studies, teach, preach, prophesy, and all that stuff, but as someone who is a businesswoman who does business with integrity, who can actually help people to get results. How do I shift from people seeing me as that to this? It was content, you guys. It was sharing content, sharing my expertise, sharing my knowledge, right? Remember when I talked about authority is defined as the power to influence, especially because of one's recognized expertise or recognized knowledge about something. So it's just like when you go to see a doctor, when you go to see some kind of expert. When I was struggling terribly with acne, acne is something that I've dealt with all my life. And I got to the point where I was like, wait, this is not fair. And I had just kind of accepted that I was a person who had acne, and I was like, this is just my life. To realizing, wait a minute, like I can really change this situation around. So I connected with someone, and she started asking me about like what am I eating? And I said, I've been in and out of so many different dermatologist offices. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've been in and out of the dermatologist office. But not one of them ever asked me, "What are you eating?" Let's look at what you eat every day. You guys, I discovered that the stuff that I love to eat was causing my acne. My favorite things were the root causes of my acne. But the way that I found her is because she always shares content. She was always sharing tips. And I came to know her as an expert, you guys. And her services were not cheap. Like her skincare, all that stuff is very expensive. But because I had been following her, I've been consuming her content, I came to know her as an expert. I'm like, this lady knows her stuff. So at that point, the money wasn't even an issue anymore. I'm like, I need this problem solved, right? So from her, I learned what to not eat, what to eat, what kind of vitamins to take, and all of those things to improve my skin. But I never would have trusted her if I didn't see her in action first, right? So when we talked about launches, I talked about how launches work so well because launching is a form of content creation. When you're doing a launch, or you're putting on an event for your ideal clients, you're teaching, you're giving them some valuable information, and then you're making them an offer. The reason why those are so powerful is because they get to see you in action. They get to see you as an expert. Now, I don't want you to take this as it takes a whole lot of money. Or now I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but I will tell you it doesn't take a whole lot of money and a whole lot to get started, right? You can start simply by just creating some weekly content and giving yourself time to discover your voice. I always say this, that a lot of times you're waiting to figure out, like, well, who am I? What's my voice? Sometimes y'all, like, the way that you discover your voice is by using it. So if you're sharing a piece of content, you're like, oh my, I'm not really, I don't really feel like that content is in alignment with what, and it happens sometimes. Sometimes you may share something, you might be like, oh, I don't really know if I really, that really aligns with what I really wanted to say, or I don't know if that's representing my brand the way that I want to represent it. That's okay. Then, next time when you share another piece of content, then you can make that shift, right? You're going to put out some content and your audience is going to really resonate with it. Sometimes you're going to put out content and your audience is going to be like, I don't even know what that was. It happens, you guys. It's just a part of being in business. It's a part of learning and growing. It happens to everybody, right? Even those who are seasoned, right? It happens to everybody. But sharing content on a regular basis is one of the best ways to get clients because your content can drive your sales. I posted this in the group and on my Facebook page a few days ago that 60% of marketers, they measure the success of their content by sales. So they're looking at their content and determining whether or not this piece of content was successful or not based on the sales that that piece of content brought in or the conversions that that piece of content brought in for them. So that's like, y'all, that's a lot. 60% of marketers, right? That's majority of people who are marketing anything. And all of us are marketers. If you have any kind of business, we're all marketers, right? 60% of us measure the success of the content by the sales. There's a direct correlation between your content and your sales. right? So one of the biggest issues when people are like, "Oh, I need more clients," I'll always go back to look at what content they're putting out. It doesn't have to be complicated, y'all. Like you can go live every once a week. You can start with 10 minutes. Go live once a week for 10 minutes. Talk to your people, engage with your people, okay? Now, if you're brand new and you don't have an audience yet, you need to you need to decide where you're going to grow your audience. You need an audience because you need a place where you can start bringing people, right? And then gathering your people, and then you need to start building community. Remember, I talked about there's a difference between an audience and a community. An audience, that's just a gathering of people that you talk to. A community is a gathering. An audience. An audience is a community of people that you gather and you're talking at them, right? Let's say, for example, I just get on here every Thursday and I just talk to you guys, right? That's great, but I actually have conversations with y'all, like in the messages and over email. And I email some of you guys. Some of you guys are messaging. Like most people who hang out with me every week, or they go back and watch the replays. You guys know you can send me a message on Facebook. I'm very personable, I'm very reachable. I handle my own messages. I don't have someone doing my messages in my emails. I talk to my own clients. Okay, so or my own ideal clients. So most of you guys know that you can send me a message. Like I'm here. I answer questions. All of that. Okay. So I talk to my audience, but I talk with my audience, right? Because see, like I go live and I'm teaching, but I talk with you too. So when you have a place where you're building up people who are interested in what you offer, you can get clients anytime you want. If you have an email list where you got emails of people who are interested in what you offer, then you could get clients anytime you want. If you have a community that you're building on Facebook, like pretty much, I think all of my clients have a Facebook group. Yeah, all of my clients have a Facebook group where they're gathering their people, right? They're building their tribe. They're gathering people who are interested in what they have to say. And because of that, really, you can get clients at any time you want. If people are joining your group because they're interested in whatever your group title was, everyone who comes into your group is an ideal client until you determine that they're not, right? And the way that you determine that they're not is by having a conversation. If you determine that they're not your ideal client, that's okay because they may know people who are your ideal client. If you determine that they are your ideal client, then the next thing to do is to follow your sales process and get them into your program. Okay? So you got to have your content going out where you're sharing your expertise so that you can establish yourself as an authority. You guys, it's not hard to build authority. It's not hard to build an authority. If you put out one piece of content today, people, I promise you, people will start to see you as an authority. One piece of content. It starts to shift. The perception of you starts to shift with that first piece of content. No joke. So sharing your content so people can see you in action, they can see your expertise, they can decide if they want to work with you or not. No matter how boring you think you are, no matter how crazy you think your story is, your people are going to be attracted to you because of those things. Because some of the stuff that you went through in life, they may have went through, some of your ideal clients may have went through some of those same experiences. And when they see that you overcame that, it's like, okay, Candace did it, I can do it too. Shanta did it, I can do it too. Okay. So making sure you're allowing people to see who you are and get to know you and connect with you. Sometimes, you guys, this is one thing I want you to take away. I want you to take away everything. But if you don't take away anything else from this broadcast, I want you to understand this, that sometimes people don't join your program right away. Let's say Candace starts putting out content tomorrow. Candace may have someone watching her content for 3 months before they even join her program or buy her products, because that's just the way that it is. So imagine if Candace does a piece of content next week and then she doesn't show up for another 3 months. That's not establishing consistency. That's not building trust. But if she starts tomorrow and then she shows up every week, then that person who's tuning in live to her content, that person who she's engaging with, answering their questions, they will eventually become a buyer or a client, right? And so it starts with you doing the work to position yourself as the expert that you are. So many times, I see people saying things. Now, I encourage my clients to get on calls with their ideal clients to close sales. There are ways to close sales without getting on calls. I still encourage my clients to do calls because, they have the opportunity to find out if they want to take on that client. That client may not be a good fit for them. So, but there's some ways to do get clients without doing a call. So when you see people that are like, oh, I got clients without sales call, you guys, most of the time, it's a piece of content. That's how they close the sale. It's from a piece of content. Some type of video, some type of class, some type of training that they do. You have someone sign up for this training, they go into your funnel. If you don't know what a funnel is, don't even worry about it. But in essence, a funnel is a sales process. It's an automated sales process. Well, it doesn't have to be automated actually. The funnel is a process that people go through from being a prospect to a paying client or customer. So actually, the content to authority system, you guys, if you go to contenttoauthority.com, you will see an example of a funnel. But so you put your email address in. You probably have all seen this. You put your email address in, and then the next page is a recording of a video, and they're teaching you something awesome. Hopefully, it's something awesome. They're giving you some real value, and then a little button pops up asking, "Do you want to join a program, or do you want to, do you want to take the next step?" The way that they're doing that is with content, right? They're closing sales with content. A lot of people also like to use what's called evergreen webinars, where they do a webinar and they record it, and then people again go through the funnel and they can sell courses like that as well. All those things are very powerful, but I said all that to say that they're leveraging content to be able to do that. So inside of the content to authority system, I also talk about those things. As a matter of fact, if you go there and you get if you add the sales maximizer onto your order, there are over 100 ways that you can leverage your content to drive your sales. So doing your videos, doing your however you're going to put your content out. If you're going to do video, great, because that's my favorite. Video, you can do audio, like y'all, we have Clubhouse now, we've got podcasting. You can blog. If you write better than you speak, you could blog. Like blogging is still very alive, despite what some people think. Blogging is still very alive and still very powerful. So you can do blogging. There's so many different ways to put out content. There really is not an excuse for any of us to not be putting out content. Because if you don't like being seen on camera, you can do audio, right? If you don't like either of those, you can do blogging. However, I will tell you that if you and I are working together, I'm gonna be telling you to get on video because video is the fastest way to build trust, because people get to see your face, they get to see your mannerisms, they get to see your personality, and those things build trust pretty quickly. So I will be encouraging you to get on video. So so let's do just a quick recap. We're talking about getting clients, right? And in the beginning, I talked about how the whole idea of getting clients is just that you have to get them, right? Some of them will come to you, but you still have to be the initiator of those conversations. And the ones that come to you usually come because you're doing some kind of magnetic activity. They're seeing you in action, you're sharing content, you're changing the world every single day, one person at a time, whether it's with you having an individual conversation or you sharing some awesome content. So you guys, I don't know why people think this. Well, I guess I do know why. But in the past, social media used to be a lot different. Facebook in particular. Facebook, you used to be able to make a post and close sales directly from a post, and you still can, but many times, if you're closing a sale like that, it's mostly because people already know you, or it's like a no-brainer type of thing, right? It's like that's just $10. Oh, I'm getting this. And so a lot of times if you're closing a sale, they either already know you or it's like some type of no-brainer offer that doesn't cost much. There are some things that don't need a lot of trust. If Candace is selling me, a $37 product, I don't really need to know a lot about her, because $37 is like, okay, wow, yes, I'm in. I'm getting all this for $37. I'm so in. But if Candace is like, okay, my program is $997, I may be like, okay, let me see a little bit more about Candace before I spend this kind of money. And so you can't just post anymore and get clients. And I think that is a lot of the frustration that people are seeing because they're posting and no one's clicking, no one's buying. And the reason why that's happening is because there's no conversation there. There's no yeah, I'm not saying don't post. I am telling you to post. But many times that's not enough to get the clients because you have to go get them, right? Now, if I made a post right now, I may get some clients off of a post because people, I'm connecting with people every week. I go live every week. I'm sharing content like every Thursday I'm live. And people know that. So if I make a post, because you guys see me live every week, there's trust there. You guys know my spirit. You know how I do business. So if you join from a link, that's because of the magnetic things that I've been doing, right? So this is what I mean by like a real life example. The magnetic things that I'm doing, you get to see my expertise. You get to see my gifts in action. Many times when you're brand new, you're going to have a really hard time trying to get clients just from a post. Okay? You do need to post, but you also need to have conversations with people. And that is the thing that the conversations are what move the needle. The conversations lead to the clients, right? So you have to be the one who's initiating those conversations. So creating your content so you can demonstrate your expertise, sharing testimonials, even if it's just your story, you can talk about how you went from this to that. And a lot of times that's very inspirational when people can see that you've been able to accomplish a certain thing. Sometimes you just use yourself if you don't have any clients. The other thing is you can get testimonials if you want some testimonials. You could ask people to, if you work with someone in the past, even if it was for free, you can go back and ask them, will they write you a testimonial about their experience with you? You could offer someone a special rate on a service in exchange for their testimonial. There's so many things that you can do to get testimonials. Okay. So content, sharing your testimonial, sharing your wins, your client wins, sharing your own stories about how you've been able to accomplish a certain thing. And then we talked about having conversations with people so that you can actually move the needle. Sometimes, like I told you, like this morning, I just from having a conversation with someone, I made $1,000. You guys, like, who wouldn't want to sit, in their pajama pants? I just told on myself. Who wouldn't want to sit in their pajama pants and make $1,000 by just sending a couple of messages? I'm telling you guys, like, you can do this. You can absolutely put your content out there, right? Because here's the deal. If you really enjoy what you do, then yeah, y'all, like we still have to work. Like even though we like what we do, we still have to put the work in. We still have to roll up our sleeves. But y'all, when I tell y'all that like sharing content to serve your audience, putting out there into the world what you know, is so inspiring, y'all. Like it really makes you level up in so many different ways because we've talked about many times how being an entrepreneur is a journey. It is a personal development journey. And when you're sharing content on a regular basis and you're creating and you're engaging with people, you're interfacing with your audience, it changes you in so many ways. It's actually kind of fun to do. So if you haven't created content, I want to encourage you to give it a shot. Give it a try, put your knowledge out there, share some tips with people that you know that can help them, and watch how the game begins to change. People will start to see you as the expert that you are, right? Because we know that you know your stuff, but they need to know that you know your stuff. They need to see how amazing you are so they can decide if they want to work with you or not. And many of them will. So think about those things and think about who you know right now that you can connect with. I always say this to my clients. I just made a post about this on my Facebook page and inside of the group that you probably have 3 to 5 clients who are already connected to you in some kind of way right now. They just maybe they haven't discovered you, or maybe you haven't initiated a conversation with them, but you probably already have 3 to 5 clients who are already connected to you right now. Okay. All right, guys. So go to contenttoauthority.com to get the Content to Authority system. And also, if you want more information on, I do have some courses that I did live. You're able to buy the replays to those courses. I have how to start your coaching business. I also have one on lead generation, because we talked about how in order for you to get more clients, you need leads. So I have a lead generation workshop, how to start your coaching business workshop. If that's something that you're interested in, just send me a quick message and let me know, and I can get you set up. Now, if you're watching me from YouTube, just send me an email. You can comment on YouTube and just let me know, and I'll reach out to you. Or you could just shoot me an email at info@shantaprince.com, and I'll get you all set up. Okay. All right. Y'all have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. Have a wonderful Friday and weekend. And I'll be live again tomorrow at 5 o'clock, same place. And I'll be live with Karen Shannon. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about brand building that converts to cash. So come join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And other than that, I'll see you next Thursday. Y'all have a great one. Go out there, create some content, and get some clients.